மார்னிங் சில்ட்ரன். இப்போ செகண்ட் யூனிட்டில் நம்ம ப்ரோஸ் பார்க்க போகிறோம். த விண்ட் ஆன் ஹாண்டட் ஹில். எப்படி லிசனர் போயம் எப்படி உங்களுக்கு த்ரில்லிங்காக இருந்துச்சோ அதே மாதிரி இதுவும் த்ரில்லிங்காக தான் இருக்கும். இதோட ஹெட்டிங்கை பாருங்களேன். விண்ட் ஹாண்டட் ஹில் ஆன், ஒரு மலை மேலே இருக்க காற்று, பேய் மாதிரி காற்றடிக்குது. அந்த மலையை தாண்டி ஒரு கேர்ள், உஷான்ற கேர்ள் போகிறா. அவள் சந்திக்கக்கூடிய என்னென்ன பிரச்சனைகளை சந்திக்கிறா அப்படின்றது தான் இந்த லெசனுடைய இதே. ஓகேவா? இப்போ மிஸ் ஃபுல்லாக ரீட் பண்ணிடுறேன், அதுக்கப்புறமா உங்களுக்கு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுறேன். ஓகேவா? த விண்ட் ஆன் ஹாண்டட் ஹில். ஹூ 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 cried the wind as it swept down from the Himalayan snows. It hurried over the hills and passes and hummed and moaned in the tall pines and deodars. On Haunted Hill there was little to stop the wind, only a few straightened trees and bushes, and the ruins of what had once been a small settlement. On the slopes of the next hill there was a small village. People kept large stones on their tin roofs to prevent them from blowing away. There was nearly always a wind in these parts. Even on sunny days, doors and windows rattled, chimneys choked, clothes blew away. Three children stood beside a low stone wall, spreading cloths out to dry. On each garments they played a rock. Even then the cloths fluttered like flags and pennants. Usha, dark-haired and rose-cheeked, struggled with her grandfather's long loose shirt. She was 11 or 12. Her younger brother Suresh was doing his best to hold down a bedsheet, while Binya, a slightly older girl, Usha's friend and neighbor, was handing them the cloths one at a time. Once they were sure everything was on the wall, firmly held down by rocks, they climbed up on the flat stones and sat there for a while in the wind and the sun, staring across the fields at the ruins on Haunted Hill. I must go to the bazaar today, said Usha. I wish I could come too, said Binya, but I have to help with the cows and the housework. Mother isn't well. I can't come, said Suresh. He was always ready to visit the bazaar, which was 3 miles away on the other side of Haunted Hill. No, you can't, said Usha. You must help grandfather chop wood. Their father was in the army, posted in a distant part of the country, and Suresh and his grandfather were the only men in the house. Suresh was 8, chubby and almond-eyed. Won't you be afraid to come back alone? He asked. Why should I be afraid? There are ghosts on the hill. I know, but I will be back before it gets dark. Ghosts don't appear during the day. Are there many ghosts in the ruins? Asked Binya. Grandfather says so. He says that many years ago, over 100 years ago, English people lived on the hill, but it was a bad spot, always getting struck by lightning, and they had to move to the next range and build another place. But if they went away, why should there be any ghosts? Because grandfather says during a terrible storm, one of the houses was hit by lightning and everyone in it was killed. Everyone, including the children. Were there many children? There were 2 of them, a brother and sister. Grandfather says he has seen them many times when he has passed through the ruins late at night. He has seen them playing in the moonlight. Wasn't he frightened? No, old people don't mind seeing ghosts. Usha set out on her walk to the bazaar at 2 in the afternoon. It was about an hour's walk. She went through the fields, now turning yellow with flowering mustard, then along the saddle of the hill and up to the rains. The path went straight through the rains. Usha knew it well. She had often taken it while going to the bazaar to do the weekly shopping or to see her aunt who lived in the town. Wildflowers grew in the crumbling walls. A wild plum tree grew straight out of the floor of what had once been a large hall. Its soft white blossoms had begun to fall. Lizards scuttled over the stones, while a whistling thrush, its deep purple plumage glistening in the soft sunshine, sat in the empty window and sang its heart out. Usha sang to herself as she tripped lightly along the path. Soon she had left the rains behind. The path dipped steeply down to the valley and the little town with its straggling bazaar. Usha took her time in the bazaar. She bought soap and matches, spices and sugar. None of these things could be had in the village where there was no shop, and a new pipe stem for her grandfather's hookah, and an exercise book for Suresh to do his sums. As an afterthought, she bought him some marbles. Then she went to Mosey's shop to have her mother's slippers repaired. The Mosey was busy, so she left the slippers with him and said she'd be back in half an hour. She had 2 rupees of her own saved up, and she used the money to buy herself a necklace of amber-colored beads from an old Tibetan lady who sold charms and trinkets from a tiny shop at the end of the bazaar. Usha met her Aunt Lakshmi, who took her home for tea. Usha spent an hour in Aunt Lakshmi's little flat above the shops, listening to her aunt talk about the ache in her left shoulder and the stiffness in her joints. She drank 2 cups of sweet hot tea, and when she looked out of the window, she saw the dark clouds had gathered over the mountains. Usha ran to the cobbler's and collected her mother's slippers. The shopping bag was full. She slung it over her shoulder and set out for the village.